We have 3 days of significant severe weather across the United States, starting with today's moderate risk across the central and the southern plains. And then that shifts east and includes an enhanced risk across portions of the Midwest, the Ohio and Tennessee River Valley on Sunday. And then finally for Monday, Memorial Day, a slight risk of severe weather across portions of the Mid-Atlantic down into the Carolinas. So we're going to get you everything that you need to know with the severe weather upcoming on this video. So make sure to subscribe to the channel here at Weather on the Go. We'll keep you updated on everything weather throughout the entirety of this year. Make sure to press the like button down below and also leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. We'll get to those later on in the video. So let's look first here at our temperatures. We have excessive heat warnings down here into places like South Texas. We have heat advisories in the orange across south central Texas here, especially right around the Rio Grande Valley region, and that is because extreme heat is in play down here as we are going to be seeing days after days of triple-digit heat down here into the Brownsville region, Corpus Christi, maybe even the San Antonio area. So you can see that here today. We have more heat across the south tomorrow and as we go into Monday, Memorial Day. So make sure to stay hydrated and be in an air conditioning room as we do go through the weekend here and take frequent breaks if you do work outdoors. Now, concerning the severe weather as we go through today, we have a substantial tornado outbreak in play as we go through the day today for portions of the central and southern plains. In particular, there is a level 4 out of 5, a moderate risk of significant severe weather from Kansas, western Missouri down here into portions of central Oklahoma. This includes metropolitan areas such as Wichita, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, and the Lawton Fort Sill, Oklahoma region with a large enhanced, slight, and marginal risk here outside of that region. The biggest concern today revolves around the violent tornado threat. We have a 10 to 15% probability of strong tornadoes, even violent tornadoes that are EF2 intensity or stronger from parts of Kansas, western Missouri down into Oklahoma, but also parts of North Texas across the Red River as well. And with those supercells developing in this environment, we could be seeing hailstones of 4, maybe even 5-inch diameter at its peak across portions of Kansas, western Missouri into Oklahoma and north central Texas. And then as those storms congeal into more of a complex overnight up near the Kansas City area, Springfield, Missouri, Wichita, Topeka into the Tulsa area, we could be seeing some extremely damaging wind gusts over 80 miles per hour, if not higher, as we go in towards the overnight hours. So let's break down the setup for severe weather here. You have the warm front lifting north across the central plains at this time, and we have the dry line further off to the west, and that is the triple point up here into portions of Kansas. That's where the most significant severe winds are going to be, right off the low levels there into the mid levels. We have a lot of turning of the winds with height. With southward extent, though, the dew points are going to be higher. So the further south you get through Oklahoma and into North Texas, the dew points will climb into the middle, even upper 70s locally here. With all the rainfall we've seen this year, that should be easily achieved. As we go into the afternoon, evening, those instability values will be climbing over 4,000, even 5,000 joules per kilogram. This is thunderstorm fuel. The higher the number, the higher the risk for thunderstorms and thus severe weather. And you can see that's higher with southward extent toward the Red River Valley. This is something we're concerned about. The low-level jet here. Notice how it's moderately strong across Kansas and up here into Oklahoma, North Texas, around 45 knots or so at its peak this afternoon. Watch it really crank across the central southern plains this evening. Over 50, even 60 knots, Kansas, western Missouri, Oklahoma, especially there near the Oklahoma City and Tulsa area, and then back here into the Dallas-Fort Worth metroplex. That will actually lead to the significant tornado parameter values increasing. So this afternoon, marginally conducive for tornadoes, especially down near the Red River Valley, southern Oklahoma, North Texas, but watch that increase as that low-level jet increases in intensity and becomes more widespread. We're going to see those significant tornado parameters parameter values become more widespread in tandem as well. And you can see 33s out of 10s, folks. That's 3 times higher than the highest point on this scale. So, and you can see as we even go into early Sunday morning, after midnight, those values still stay up near 30 here out of 10 across especially southern Kansas, Oklahoma, into southern Missouri and northwest Arkansas, and even back into the North Texas vicinity. So let's go through the general timing of when you can expect thunderstorms out your door in the plains today. This afternoon, very dry. The cap is holding strong through much of the day. So early, mid-afternoon, things should remain dry. I think after 3 p.m. Central Time, we'll start to get these supercells that evolve in northwest Texas and southwestern Oklahoma. They will grow in intensity very quickly. We already showed you all the parameters. Dew points very high. Instability or thunderstorm fuel very high. The wind shear will be very high. A lot of parameters coming together. That intense supercells here will be moving into this environment. Now, the question is, how many of these do we get? Do we get 1 of these? Do we get 4 of these? Do we get 10 of these, or do we get none of them? We'll have to wait and see if that cap breaks and how strong it breaks as we go into the evening, but those storms will be intense if they do develop. And then as we go into early Sunday morning, a little bit of more upscale growth into Iowa. That'll be more elevated thunderstorms in Iowa, so hail will be the main threat there. Not really looking at anything with damaging winds and tornadoes too much. I think the damaging wind tornado threat will be further south towards Kansas City, Springfield, Missouri, Jefferson City, Missouri, the Joplin area, Tulsa, into the Fayetteville, Arkansas region, for example. And here's what you also look at as well to kind of give you a general idea of how strong these storms could be. This is called the helicity tracks, and basically this takes into account very large hail updrafts that produce very large hail, very long-lived tornadoes, and you can see here across Kansas, Missouri, even Nebraska up here on the northern extent, and even down here into Oklahoma, North Texas, you can see that those helicity tracks go for long distances. So that tells me we're going to have some very strong storms, 50, 60,000 foot updrafts that produce very large hailstones, those 4, 5-inch diameter hailstones. We also could be seeing some particularly strong and intense tornadoes that are on the ground for a long period of time, those EF2 or greater intensity tornadoes, so something to keep an eye on. Doesn't stop there. As we go into Sunday, an enhanced risk level 3 out of 5 on the orange across portions of eastern Missouri, downstate Illinois and Indiana, over here to far southwest Ohio, much of the state of Kentucky there, and into northern Tennessee with a large marginal and slight risk surrounding that as well. And you can see the main risk here will be for some intense hurricane force wind gusts over 70, over 80 miles per hour for portions of Missouri, downstate Illinois, Indiana, into Kentucky there, with some hail threat there as we go into Sunday. And also a few tornadoes will be possible in and around the Mississippi Valley, the Ohio and Tennessee River Valley as well. So same type of setup here. Warm front lifting further north as we go into Sunday toward the Great Lakes. How far north it goes is still a little bit of a question because of overnight storms from tonight into tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see as we get into tomorrow, kind of more observational data, but it looks like all signs point that the warm front will lift up toward Chicago, up toward Fort Wayne, even Toledo here and just south of Detroit. And that area south of the warm front will be in the warm sector, dew points 60s and 70s. Instability will be climbing here through the afternoon and evening with the help of the very late May sunshine here. And looking at the significant tornado parameter space for Sunday afternoon, you can see the values are high. They're 11s and 12s out of 10, so definitely pretty high there in eastern Missouri. They'll be high across the middle and lower Mississippi Valley on up toward the Ohio and Tennessee River Valley as we go into Sunday evening, peaking around 19s, 20s out of 10. So a few tornadoes will be possible. And here's some of the good news that I see from any of this. Any silver lining there is that on Sunday, relative to today, the storms look to be mostly in lines. So that tells me that damaging winds will be the number one threat, followed by large hail and possibly tornadoes. Can't rule out a strong tornado tomorrow. We can see a line of storms moving across portions of the Illinois Valley. This will mainly pose a risk for wind and hail. That preceding wave of showers and storms will weaken as it pushes into the Ohio Valley, into Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky here. The southernmost extent has stronger instability to work with, so I do think that could hold on a little bit stronger and more intense through the day. Here's renewed activity back in the northern and eastern portions of Missouri, western Illinois. That is from outflow boundaries from wherever that complex of storms develops in the plains tonight and moves into tomorrow morning through the Illinois Valley. That will spark new storms. And look at the storm structure here. It's linear, right? So that means more damaging winds, more large hail here instead of tornadoes. But we have to watch these preceding storms. If we get any discrete, semi-discrete storms out ahead of the main line, that could pose a risk for a tornado or two, even a strong tornado or two. So we'll keep an eye on that. And then I think tendency will be a more linear structure as it moves through eastern Kentucky, middle and eastern Tennessee, down into the northern and central Dixie Alley region and toward the southeast with more of a damaging wind, hail threat with maybe a couple spin-up tornadoes early Monday morning. And you can see the helicity tracks here, pretty significant wind, pretty significant hail, and maybe a couple significant tornadoes on the table here from parts of the southern Midwest into the Ohio-Tennessee River Valley. Some of this could sneak into the northern and central Dixie Alley region and down into the southeast as well. Then as we go into Monday, Memorial Day itself, we have a slight risk, level 2 out of 5 as we go into the mid-Atlantic states, down into especially North Carolina here with a marginal risk really from around Buffalo, New York, all the way back here towards the Houston region, in toward Austin as we go into Monday, right along the cold front. So we'll keep a close eye on that. All modes of severe weather, damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes will be in play on Memorial Day as well. As well as the severe weather threat, we have some heavy rainfall on the table. You can see across the Midwest, the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, up through the Mid-Atlantic, the Northeast. A lot of these areas will be seeing 1 to 3 inches worth of rain. So isolated flash flooding concerns will be possible, especially since it's been a very rainy spring in some of these areas. So we have to watch out for those flooding in the low-lying areas, especially like farm fields and ditches and stuff like that. Now, as we go into the rest of next week after Memorial Day, you can see some more active weather on Tuesday, some storm clusters down in the central southern plains. These are not likely to be severe, so we'll take note of that. And then as we go into Wednesday, again, more clusters down here, mainly with heavy rain. While we can't rule out an isolated severe storm or two, I don't think widespread severe weather will be a problem. And then as we go into Thursday, May 30th, more storms up and down the plains here from the Dakotas to Texas. And then the same thing as we go into Friday. Just a lot of heavy rainfall there. And you can see the plains on up into the upper Midwest will be the prime area for more significant rainfall from Tuesday, May 28th to round out the month of May through Friday, May 31st. We could see several inches of accumulating rain across the plains and on up there into the upper Midwest. As we go into early June, this is through the first week here, Saturday, June 1st through Friday, June 7th, we're going to heat up across the country. Still really hot down here near the Gulf Coast, but I think some of that heat will spread north and westward as we go through the first week there in June. Still some active weather across parts of the central southern plains on over into the Eastern U.S. and also the West Coast will be pretty active as well. Southern Florida maybe as well. A couple dry spots in here across the northern Rockies and down here near the southeast coast. We'll keep a close eye on that as we go into early June. So those are just the trends that I see right now. Make sure to subscribe to my channel here at Weather on the Go. We'll keep you updated on everything weather throughout the entirety of this year, including severe weather, flash flooding type of weather, hurricanes, blizzards, stuff like that. We'll keep it all covered for you here on this channel. Make sure to give the video a like if you like today's weather forecast. Also, leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. I'll get to those later on today, and I hope everyone has a wonderful and safe Memorial Day weekend out there.